Here is the Boot, and it's a hilarious name. Of course, we're calling him Boot, which actually I think is kind of cute. So Boot has been here for nearly 2 weeks now, and he arrived with the full set of racing plates on. However, he then immediately lost a shoe. I don't remember which one, but then he was sore without it. Then he lost a second. Then he lost a third. And so by the time my farrier got here, and my farrier was away last week, and then he was not feeling well. So there's like a huge gap of time where I didn't see my farrier, in which time he was losing all his race plates. I think by the time my farrier got here, he had on one shoe, even though he arrived with four. And so, of course, I had to wait to get his feet done before we could actually start doing anything with him. Now, right after he arrived, I did sit on him once for like 5 minutes, but it was sort of the same situation as with Oreo, who I was talking about the other day. Got on, walked around, picked up the trot, and he was clearly sore behind without whatever hind shoe he had thrown first. So then we were just, playing the waiting game until my farrier could get here. And so as annoying as that was, because I knew this horse was spectacular, when I saw his jog video, I bought him as fast as I possibly could because he just moves like a cloud. But he is thin. And so it was actually not a bad thing for him to just sort of sit around for 10 days or so doing nothing but eating. And so he is gaining weight, but he still has a ways to go. So the good news here is that actually he's a great eater. He's very excited about food and eats everything you put in front of him. So all that is great, but certainly he still has more weight to put on. So he finally got his feet done yesterday, and he has beautiful feet. And if you want to see up close pictures of them, they are all in his Flickr album, which is linked to my website. But he has just absolutely beautiful feet. And so his feet look great. And then sure enough, the second he got his feet done, he was perfectly comfortable. And so here we are. So he's having his first official post-track ride. I'd sat on him the one time about a week ago for 5 minutes, but I would not say that that counts because all we did was walk around for a few minutes. But this horse is so crazy quiet. It's absolutely ridiculous. He's sort of this amazing blend of, the suspension, the movement, super athletic, uphill, balanced, and just so quiet and easygoing. It's just sort of ridiculous. In a minute or so here, after he trots around all nice and fancy and pretty, I just dropped the reins because he's just one of these horses that you can ride as fancy as you want to, or you can just ride around on the buckle with a loop in the rein. And he's just so happy to go either way. So I guess the big thing about him is, you got to not be afraid to kick because he is totally a kick ride right now. He's learning to be in front of the leg. So, if you're a person who's afraid to kick a horse in front of your leg, then he's probably not the horse for you. But as long as you don't mind just saying like, come on, we're moving forward now. Once you get him in front of your leg, which I'm telling you, it doesn't take much. It took me like 2 minutes today, a couple taps and a kick and a cluck and off we went. And then he just stayed perfectly in front of my leg. But even so, even when he's in front of your leg, he's still a horse that you need to put your leg on at all times. And he's never a horse that I'm telling needs to whoa. So just very quiet, easygoing, beautiful moving horse. I mean, obviously just makes a gorgeous, gorgeous shape, gorgeous movement. I'm really in love with this horse. In the canter, he's not quite as round. Well, actually, he's quite round to the right, I thought. He's actually a little bit against the grain. He finds the right bend a little bit easier than the left bend, even coming right off the track, which is definitely not the norm, but, it's not unheard of, and it's fine. It doesn't really matter. So to the left, you'll see that the left canter, I couldn't quite get him as in front of my leg as I needed to actually get him to come across his top line, but kind of doesn't matter. The horse is still absolutely lovely, and that will come easily in time. Not everything needs to happen on the first ride, and I would say that this first ride was an absolute success. I couldn't have asked for a nicer horse. So anyway, I got carried away. So the Boot is a 16-1 and a half hand 4-year-old. So he's exactly between 16-1 and 16-2. And obviously this is the spring of his 4-year-old year. So he still has a bit of growing to do. He will certainly finish at least 16-2 hands, if not a little bit bigger. And he also, as mentioned before, has a ton of filling out and weight to put on. So this horse is going to look a lot different a year from now, even though the movement will still obviously be just as nice, if not nicer. He's a 4-year-old. He only had 11 career starts. He never broke his maiden, so he was never running very competitively. He only made $11,000, which is very, very sad. So not a very good racehorse, but from sitting on him today, it's very obvious why. I mean, the horse is just way, way too quiet to want to be a racehorse. He last ran in March, on March 7th, but he was still at the racetrack and in training until Billy picked him up about 2 weeks ago. And he has great feet, super, super clean, straight legs, not a hair out of place. The only thing about this horse that some people won't love is that he's a very mild cribber. That was not disclosed when I bought him. I was told no vices. And then he showed up, and it took a couple of days before I saw him take a crib. It's very mild. He's not a horse that just sits around cribbing all day, every day. I certainly have had my fair share of those. And while it doesn't bother me, I can appreciate how some people don't love that. This horse, just every once in a while, you see him take a crib. It's not chronic. It's not all the time. It's not necessarily when he's even eating. I've seen him eat his grain and he doesn't crib at all. Just every once in a while, he takes a crib. And I don't use a collar, so it's totally unrestricted. So it's extremely mild, and honestly, it just couldn't matter. I couldn't care less. This horse is just so exceptional. If he wants to have a crib here and there, who cares? So you'll see that I'm carrying the stick in my left hand. He finds the left bend slightly more challenging than the right. So I'm just using the stick, sort of giving him a little tap on the inside shoulder sometimes to try and encourage him to think about that left shoulder, sort of getting up off of the left shoulder, straightening it, and coming a little bit more forward. So when you're seeing a little bit of tail swishing there, that's when we're having the little conversation about a little more bend, a little bit more forward. And he just thinks that for whatever reason, that's more difficult right now in that left canter, which is just no big deal at all. And then again, just so happy to plod around the ring on the buckle. I just love absolutely everything about this horse. He's absolutely delightful, and he's just super, super sweetheart, really friendly and personable, wonderful on the ground. And I also should mention that so today I got on him for the first time in about a week, maybe a little bit longer. And there was no lunging or anything, absolutely zero prep work whatsoever. So you can just get on this horse after time off, and there's absolutely no worries. There's no silly business that I sense coming off of this horse.